Right, I'm going to be playing OpenTTD. This series is it is inspired by Timberwolf's 1815 Start series, which is now unlisted on YouTube, but there is a link to the playlist on his website. So I've got pretty much the same settings and graphics packs as he did, and I'm just going to play the game. We've got a pretty rocky map, quite mountainous in places, almost flat in others. The way he started, which is rather clever, I think, is by transporting engineering supplies, which are, if we look at the cargo payment rates, quite lucrative. See, they're the flashing, especially they're pretty much the most lucrative if you get them there quickly, but then they drop off. And engineering supplies come from ports like this. 72 crates of engineering supplies. Now, what we want to do is find a port that's fairly close to something that does want engineering supplies. The tube and pipe mill doesn't. Port. The soda ash mine wants engineering supplies. Right. Not allowed while paused. I smooth out this bit of terrain, though our company is unnamed. Steps. We can be Steps Transport. Then Baker & Co. build headquarters. Hang on, let me relocate it here if it's going to face this way, and put a little bit of road in. And because I've got infrastructure maintenance on, this road is mine. It doesn't belong to the local authority. But you see, owner Baker & Co. But it costs £0 a year to maintain. It's probably because it's dirt road. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do some horse-drawn plateway. Now, what sort of a station do I want? Good station low seems a good idea. Because the thing is, we can... If there's a chlor-alkali plant, which... the thing is that... No, that's an appliance factory. If there's a chlor-alkali plant, then, because I think that's where sodium hydroxide comes from, which can go back to the port. That's an electric arc furnace, which didn't exist in 1815, but we shall just ignore it until such a time as I deem that it's not quite so anachronistic. I just want to find a... Hang on, I look at the industry chains. Select cargo, sodium hydroxide, chloralkali plant, salt, soda ash mine. Okay, so we can do it like this. If in fact there is a chloralkali plant nearby, which is, there it is. There's one. There's one. And there's another soda ash mine nearer to it. Right. This chloralkali plant will come in useful because the sodium hydroxide can then go off to the port. But what I'm going to do initially is I'm going to build a sort of 4-platform length and then one over there. I'm going to build a bridge here because, well, I don't want to demolish the river. The thing is, in Timberwolf's trains, you start off with horses. They're not very powerful, so either you need to create giga horses, hitching sort of 20 horses to a single train, or you need to build the route entirely flat, or, you know, and I'm going to do this a bit, I'm going to do this like this. There we go. And then we're going to come out. We're going to come out like that and come back empty because there is nothing we can take from the soda ash mine back to the port, because the port wants sodium hydroxide, and you get that by taking stuff from the soda ash mine down to the chloralkali plant. So there is nothing we can take on the return journey. And then I'm just going to come around here. How did we do it on the other end? There we go. Glorious. Now signaling. To do one-way signals. This is completely irrational, but I'm going to do it from the other end. There we go. And then signal that up like that. And stick a depot in. Right, so the maximum loan is £100,000. So I've changed the difficulty settings a bit. We've already got a depot. So I'm going to put a few horses on here. And then engineering supplies. there are really a lot of cargoes in First Steel Town. But of course the end goal of it is vehicles. All of these go somehow into making vehicles. Except passengers and mail. I mean, making passengers into vehicles is probably not particularly legal. What do I want? Engineering supplies. I do a flat or covered wagons. Flat wagons are cheaper and lighter. I'm going to do that up to 0.2 horsepower per ton. I am going to have a bit of, what's it now, 0.7 horsepower per ton. That's better. Trouble is, there are now, the train is now half horses and half cars. But you know, that's what has to be done. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 16 horses hitched to one train. Anyhow, that's what has to be done. I shall clone this as much as I have money for. And I should have done it on the other side, but how does it fare coming up the hill? The hill doesn't daunt it empty. When it's full of engineering supplies, I think it will slow down a bit. Well, there is nothing to be done until we get some more money, so I'm going to fast forward the game. The game goes pretty quickly as it is, so I don't really want to be fast forwarding it too much, but in this case there is literally nothing to do. So you come around here. You see what I mean? A whole year's gone. And now they're queuing up. Good. And I wonder what because I have got infrastructure maintenance on. I already told you that. $4,000 a year. Incidentally, the signals are dearer than the track. Perhaps a signal spacing of 4 was too close, but you know, we'll easily make it back because of how lucrative engineering supplies are. I'll put it on fast forward a bit longer. Yes, you can't find a path to continue because you're queuing. That's how queues work. Right. Right. I think this is working. I think we have just the right amount of trains because, yeah. And then the next one comes in. Right, this is nice. It works. It's just going to complain about queuing. But don't we all? I mean, even the horses are probably complaining. But what does this look like on the operating profit graph? Oh, this is pretty good. Got $5,000 nearly in profit. Now this town of Steps, where we've built our HQ, I want to grow it a bit. No, that is a rail depot. You are not going to get buses out of there. Right. I'm going to have a carriage. It's not long enough, really, for a stagecoach. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to unbunch in the depot. This is a new feature. We're going to make a new group. I'm going to call it buses. Steps counterclockwise. And then this is going to be part of that group. And there's also going to be a clockwise steps group, which is, and the clockwise is going to go rather predictably clockwise. There we go. And send them off going. In this playthrough we've also got game script by Timberwolf called Villages is Villages. So this means that, well, means basically villages is villages. More tax income is needed. Oh yes, I've got the economic settings of villages is villages on, so we've got a 20% corporation tax, and that also helps to grow the towns. More tax income is needed to support population growth. Well, hopefully they'll get that. And they also want mail, and we've got ITL houses, which is formerly known as improved town layouts. So these houses, they accept coal. And they will accept coal up until about 19... Actually, I can check that. Parameters... I can't check that, but they will accept coal up until about the mid-1940s, I think. So this horse is coming in here, and it's actually quite profitable. I'm going to repay some of the loan. This, on the other hand, probably won't be quite so profitable. You see, we're 15 quid in the red. But it will help grow the town, which is we need. Should I add a second platform? It would stop the messages. I mean, I can turn them off, but that would mean I wouldn't get notified when things actually do go wrong. Anyway, this has been a sort of good start to... I'm going to save this No, I'll keep the name. I'm going to save that, and this has been the first episode. I think I'm going to leave it here. So I shall see you in the next episode.